Welcome to another Stars Unlimited deck build, but before we get into deck, I've got some questions for you. Do you want to play a deck that ambushes everything? Do you want to play a deck that makes no sense but is actually highly effective? Do you want to play a deck that's absolute chaos but somehow you end up on top? And do you want to play a deck that is quite possibly some of the most fun you will have in Stars Unlimited? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you've come to the right place. That's because this Hero Boba ambush deck is just insane. It makes no sense. It's a crazy idea, but it really works. And with set 4 bringing us lots of new toys, this deck is better than ever. But one thing real quick, if you enjoy Stars Unlimited content, make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out, and well, there's so many more decks coming and I don't want you to miss out on them. With that being said, let's crack on to this deck. So let's kick things off with this deck with the leader, and well, of course, Hero Boba Fett deck, so Boba Fett's our leader. So he's got an ability that reads, when you play a unit that has one or more keywords, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, give a friendly unit +1 for this phase. You may be thinking, okay, that's nice, but why does that work with ambush? That is because in Stars Unlimited you can pick the order things activate. If I play a card that reads ambush, like this Cloud Rider here, I can pick what happens. So before the ambush activates, I can activate Boba, exhausting him, picking this ambush card, get +1, meaning this now has 4 attack. Then I want to complete the ambush, so I activate the ambush. Now my Cloud Rider is hitting for 4. So yes, you are upscaling all of your ambush cards for an extra damage, and let me tell you, the value that brings to your deck is insane. This boosting your ambush cards is where the power of this deck lies. For the sheer reason of, something like your 2-costing Cloud Rider can start hitting for 4, meaning it can take things down that come out on their 4 or 5 resource turn, meaning they use all of their resources up and you just pay 2. It's crazy. So that's Boba's leader's ability. What about when he deploys? So he deploys on 6 and his 4/7 stat line, fairly decent. And he reads, each other friendly unit that has one or more keyword gets +1. So basically it's just +1 to everything in your deck because everything has a keyword. Meaning if you ambush anything out, like the Cloud Rider, you don't need to do the combo, it automatically gets that boost. One quick tip for using Hero Boba, this is your field right now, right? You got Cloud Rider already out. So you're going to play out another Cloud Rider, but you're going to activate Boba Fett, so exhaust him, give this unit +1, means on 4 attack, then do the ambush, whatever. Then you can deploy out your Boba Fett, so that everything gets +1 again, but this gets another +1, meaning it's now got 5 attack for the phase. Keep an eye out for that little combo, because it can come up really nicely for the deck. And for the base, of course, we had to go for Jabba's Palace. I mean, it's Boba Fett's new home, isn't it? And not just that, it's yellow, and, well, 99% of the ambush cards are yellow, so of course we're going to run it. So that's it for our base and the leader. Let's crack on to these ground units. Kicking things off for our ground units is a 2-cost, and well, it's no surprise, you've already seen it, that is 3 Cloud Riders. This card is an absolute staple for this deck. It's absolutely the epitome of what this deck is. All it is, 2 costs, 3 attack, 1 health that reads ambush. So of course, you activate Boba with it, meaning it's a 4 attack ambush for 2 resources. It's so nice. The way you got to think about this deck and cards like this is your removal. You don't activate events for removal. You play something like this to just destroy something off the board. I always like to keep at least 1 Cloud Rider in hand, just for the sheer reason of ambushing for 4 for 2 resources. It's just, honestly, do not underestimate how good that is. Moving on to our next 2-costing ground unit is 3 X-34 Land Speeder. So this is the first new addition from Jump to Light Speed that makes the deck, and it's a 2 attack, 3 health that reads ambush. But with Boba, of course, you can boost it, meaning it's a free with ambush. This card is actually really good against certain matchups. You play a Sabine matchup, this is crazy because it can one-shot the Sabine unit and survive. I also found it can one-shot Pike Sentinels and survive, so little things like that is why this card is so good. And well, worst case scenario, they play something like Battlefield Marine or something else with 3 attack, just ambush this into it and defeat them both. It really doesn't matter because we want to get to that mid to late game, so yeah, clear the board, have fun, but this guy, you'd be surprised how often he survives while defeating something. Moving on to our next 2-costing ground unit is 3 L3 37s. So this card is a 2/2 stat line that reads, when played, you may rescue a captured card. If you don't, give a shield token to this unit. So 99.9% of the time, you're just going to have a 2/2 shielded. But it has got smuggle as a keyword. The reason that's important is, well, we can activate Boba with it, meaning it becomes a 3/2 shielded unit, or we can boost something else when it comes out. And well, it's just nice having a shielded unit out for the sheer reason of maybe turn 1 you play it out, you get shielded, next turn you play something out, ambushing, you can then boost L3, meaning you've got a free attack shielded unit ready to go. Okay, moving on to our free costing ground units is a card that's absolutely insane, and that is 2 Contracted Hunter. So it's a 4/4 stat line that reads ambush, so of course you can ambush it out, but when the regroup phase, defeat this unit. That's okay, does not impact us at all, because, well, the reason we run this is so we can ambush it, boost it with Boba, meaning it's a 5 attack ambush card for 3 resources. Why is that so good, you may ask? Because ambushing for 5 can trade up so much. Not just that, this can one-shot the Sabine leader. Yes, you can one-shot Sabine leader for 3 resources. You may be thinking, if it's so good, why aren't you running 3? That's because it is defeated at the regroup phase, so it will survive most of the time the ambushing, but then in turn it gets defeated, and well, we'd much rather have the opportunity for some of our units to survive if we can. So yeah, but having 2 of them in here just for that 5 ambush is crazy good. And moving on to our next free costing ground unit is free Echo Base Defender. So it's a 4 attack free health card with Sentinel, but that is a keyword, so you can activate Boba, making it a 5 attack Sentinel for the phase. And well, I know it's not ambush, sorry, I know I can hear all the boos. However, this card, like I said, just popping him out. Okay, he's now got 5 attack, is so good. He's mainly in here if you are playing the aggression decks and you're not seeing the ambush or you can't defeat the ambush, just playing this out halters them there and then. And well, he combos nicely with a certain card I'm going to talk about in events and upgrades. Moving on to our 4 costing ground units is another insanely good card with Boba. That is free modded cohort. I know in the Book of Boba Fett the characters were kind of, you know, didn't really make sense. However, in Star Wars Unlimited, they're insane, especially with their boss. That's because it's a 2/4 stat line for 4, that's not great. However, it's got ambush, so you know, you can boost it with Boba, and it's got raid 2. Meaning we can have a 5 attack ambush for 4 resources with the 4 health, which is really important. That 4 health is really important because, well, it can ambush into things like the Sabine leader and actually survive, which is insane, because then the next turn we've got a 4 attack unit good to go. And moving on to our 5 costing ground unit, and well, we're moving away from the ambush theme. I'm joking, no we're not, it's free Syndicate Lackeys. So this guy is a 5 attack, 4 health stat line with, you know, ambush. So you know what that means, we can activate Boba, boosting it, meaning you've got a 6 attack ambush card in your 5 resources. So in my last build, I actually had Plo Koon here, but I dropped Plo Koon for the sheer reason of you need his coordinate to activate to get the big attack out, and I just found, well, you're clearing everything, so it's very rare you've got units on the board. So having this guy out for the 6 attack ambush is so good and a lot more consistent, and for that sheer reason I put it in. And well, it has got the underworld tag. Please note, 90% of this deck has got the underworld in it, because that will come up later. Moving on to our 6 costing ground units, we've got 2 General Riken, still can't say it. So this guy is a 5/7 stat line that reads, when played and on attack, choose a friendly unit. If it has Sentinel, give an experience token to it. Otherwise, it gains Sentinel for this phase. So most of the time, you're going to play it out, give it Sentinel. Please note, even though it has Sentinel here, it doesn't get Boba's effect to go off, because it isn't actually counting as a keyword until it's activated. So for example, if you play him out, give him Sentinel for the phase, you can't activate Boba with it. However, if you then deploy Boba out, for the phase, he will get that +1 because he's now got a keyword activated on him. If I've got that wrong, please let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that is how it works. I just found this guy is really important for, you know, for those decks that were getting a bit too much damage in and we couldn't clear their board quick enough. Suddenly having a 5/7 Sentinel is just crazy good. And well, I'm going to spoil it now. We have got Boba Fett's armor in here, so if we get Boba Fett in the field, give him his armor, play General Riker now, and we can give Sentinel to our Boba Fett with the armor. Oh, that's such a good combo. Moving on to our next 6 costume ground unit is a card I absolutely adore, and I think it's so strong. And for this deck, it's insanely good. That is 2 Emphas Nest. Why is this card so good for this deck? Well, it's a 5/4 stat line with ambush. You can ambush out for 6, which is alright for 6 cost. However, here, It reads, while a friendly unit is attacking using ambush, the defender gets -3 attack. This card on its own means that 90% of our deck can ambush, defeat something, and live. That -3 suddenly turns our deck from having nothing on our side of the board to clearing out what they have and swarming with so many strong units. Like, this card is insane. And yet again, it's got Underworld, and I'm going to spoil it now. If you got now there two of them and you play this out early, my goodness, the game's over for them. Yet again, you may be thinking, if it's so good, why not free? That's for the sheer reason of we've got other cards we want to get out as well, like Recon, and well, our next one, which is the 7-cost Emperor's Nest. So for example, as good as this Emperor's Nest is, ideally we don't want too many in the hand because it's a unique unit, and well, if we get both of these out together, oh, it's so good. But why is this card so good? Well, it's a 5/7 stat line without ambush. I know, boo, boo. It has got Saboteur, which is nice. But it reads, when played and on attack, you may return an enemy non-leader unit with less power than this unit to its owner's hand. Yet again, you can activate the order things activate. So you play out Emperor's Nest, you can then activate Boba, giving it +1 attack, meaning it's got 6. Then activate the when played ability, and you can return something with 6 health back to the opposition's hand. This card is one of the reasons we start controlling the board like mid to late game. It's so good. And well, if you can get this card out early with now there are two of them, then it's just game over. Like, having this out, just bouncing everything they play is absurdly strong. Please don't sleep on either of these Emperor's Nest cards because they're insane. And the power creep this deck has, if you go Emperor's Nest, the 6 cost, into this Emperor's Nest, it's insane. And rounding up our ground units is another 7 cost, and well, another insanely strong card in this deck. That's 2 Han Solos. So he's a 6/6/7 cost with ambush, but this is why he's cracked. While attacking, this unit deals combat damage before the defender. So if this ambush and defeats something, nothing is dealt back to him. And well, we're ambushing, aren't we? So we can activate Boba, giving him +1, meaning you are ambushing out of your Han Solo for 7 damage. This can one-shot so many things, it's not even funny. As you can tell, we run a lot of high-costing units. That's because we actually get to like that mid-game to late game like every single time. So being able to just play out big power card after big power card is just so good for us. That's our ground units done. Let's move on to the space units. Kicking things off, the space units is a 2 cost and has 3 fireballs. This card is a 3 attack, 3 health card with ambush that reads, when the regroup phase starts, deal 1 damage to this unit. A little bit annoying, but yeah, again, doesn't really bother us because we're normally used to our board having nothing out there. So, well, it's ambush, so we can ambush out for free, of course, boost it with Boba, meaning we got a 2 costing space unit ambushing for 4. Do you know how good that is? I know there's a lot of good space units out there now, but a lot of them still don't have great stat lines. And for that reason, saying coming out for 2 resources and just one-shotting like a 4 or 5 costing unit they played, nuts! But like I said, treat the ambush in this deck like removal. Moving on to our 3 costing space units, we got 2 Eager Escort Fighter. So this card is a 4/1 stat line. Yes, 4 attack for 3 costing with ambush. Do I need to say it? Activate Boba, give it 5 attack. You've got a 5 ambushing space unit for 3 cost. This can one-shot so many things. And well, if they don't actually play anything in space and you just play this out, it means you then got a 4 attack space unit ready on your 3rd turn. This is another card that combos really nicely with our 6 cost Emperor's Nest, because if you ambush and they lose 3 attack, you tend to defeat something, then have quite a strong space unit for almost no resources into your next turn. We don't run free, because of that 1 health, it almost never survives, and similar to the Contracted Hunter, like we do kind of want some units around sometimes, so due to that reason, like we need a little bit of health, but playing it out for free, like I said, it trades up so well. Moving on to our next 3 costing space unit is a card that is probably one of my favourite cards out of Jump to Lightspeed. That is 3 Blue Leaders. I can't tell you enough how much I love this card. So it's a 3 attack, 3 health with ambush, so of course boosted Boba for attack, but it's got a when played, you may pay 2. If you do, move this to the ground arena and give 2 experience tokens to it. Do you know why this card is so good? There's a few reasons. One of them is, if you have the initiative, you can play this out and normally clear out whatever they played in space, and this lives. But the main reason it's insanely good is because, don't forget, you choose the order things, activate it. So if you play out Blue Leader, you can activate the ambush first, activate Boba, meaning it's got 4 attack, ambush into something and defeat it. Then you can activate the when played, paying to put it onto ground with 2 experience tokens. Or you can play it out, do the when played, move it to ground, then activate the ambush and the Boba on top of it, meaning you've got a 6/5 ground unit on your 5 resources. Ambushing out. It's so good. This card is so versatile, and for that reason I adore it. And moving on to our 6 costing space units. I know it's a big jump, but that's for the reason of, well, our blue leaders and our eager escorts being able to trade up so much value that we don't actually need too much else. And that is 2 Falcons. 5 attack, 5 health, and well, of course, it's got ambush, so we can boost it for a 6 ambush space unit. But it's also got smuggle, which is kind of nice because you can bring it out through smuggle. But please be aware, to get the ambush, you need to play it from your hand. But it's just mainly in here because, well, it's an ambush and space unit, and well, it can hit for 6, so it can one-shot Fett's fire spray, which is really nice. But of all the ambushing cards, the Falcon's probably the one I play the least, to be honest. And rounding up our space units is a Arquitens Assault Cruiser. Gonna be honest, that's only in here because we've got no home ones. If you've got a home one, the green one, put that in here over this 100%. This card is a 7/8 stat line with ambush, so with this you can make it ambush for 8, meaning you can one-shot Avengers with it, which is quite nice. When this unit attacks and defeats a non-leader unit, put the defending unit into play as a resource under your control. So you can one-shot things out in space and, well, take control of it, which is nice. But like I said, it's only in here because I haven't got any home ones. That is it for our space units. Let's move on to the events and upgrades. Kicking things off, events and upgrades is a 1 cost. We got 2 Jam Communications. So this card reads, look at your opponent's hand and discard an event from it. Maybe wondering, why is that in here? It doesn't really fit the theme. Well, first of all, it's insane just discarding something from the hand. And well, because you're ambushing things out, typically you ambush out, I don't know, you're on your 4 resources, you're contracted hunter and defeat something, meaning you've got 1 resource left. Just playing this out for 1 and then discard an event is so good. Because then, for 4 resources, you've cleared their board and hit their hand. Like, it's so good. Moving on to our 2 cost and events and upgrades, we've got 2 Boba Fett's armor. This card reads, attach to a non-vehicle unit. If attached unit is Boba Fett and damage would be dealt to him, prevent 2 of that damage and give it +2/+2. Well, 99% of the time, you're going to give it to your Boba Fett, meaning it becomes a 6/9 with that 2 damage prevent. It just turns your Boba into a very beefy Boba. Unfortunately, due to all of the pilots going on, there is quite a bit of upgrade hate going on. So due to that, this card has lost some power. However, you putting this onto your hero Boba is a big issue for the opposition. If they don't deal with that Boba, he will single-handedly win you the game. And well, it only costs 2, so it's very easy to pay that to attach it. Our next 2 costing event upgrade is 2 Spark of Rebellions. But before I tell you what this card does, I'm going to be honest, this is only in here because I haven't got any now there 2 of them. If I had now there 2 of them, drop the 2 Spark of Rebellions for it 100%. For those who wondering what now 2 of them does, it reads, if you control 1 unit, play a unit from your hand, it costs 5 less as long as it has the same like tag here. So for instance, Underworld. That's why 90% of our deck is, well, Underworld. And because we're ambushing constantly, we will tend to have like 1 or no units out. So if you have 1 out, you can suddenly surprise, boom, Emperor's Nest out of nowhere. But due to now there 2 of them, it's also why we run things like the Echo-based Defender, because it's got the Rebel tag, means you can bring out General out of nowhere. It also makes Blue Leader insanely better, because it's also got Rebel, meaning we can bring out our General Recon from it. But apart from that, 99% of our deck is, well, Underworld. That's why L3 is so good, because turn 1 you can play this out Underworld, meaning it can't be defeated because of the shield. Now you play now there 2 of them, and well, play out maybe your Syndicate lackeys or a modded cohort. Anyway, back to Spark of Rebellion. This card reads, look at your opponent's hand and discard a card from it. So yet again, more hand hate. Similar to why Jam Communications is in there, most of the time you're actually going to have, well, resources left over through the ambush, you might as well hit the hand. Jam Communications I actually prefer though for the sheer reason of it only costs 1. Moving on to our 3 costing events and upgrades, we've got 3 Waylays. This card has 2 really important jobs for the deck. One of them is, well, if they play out a Sentinel or a shielded unit that's just too strong, or maybe a big unit we can't deal with, just waylay, put it straight to their hand. Or maybe you've ambushed out of a unit, it survived, there's a lot of damage on it, you can actually just waylay that unit straight back to your hand, meaning you then got it to ambush out for the next turn. That's why I actually went for waylay instead of spare the target, because spare the target you can only hit the opposition's cards, while waylay you can hit your own. But 99% of the time you can use it on their cards. And rounding up the main deck is 2 7 costs, that is 2 U-Wing Reinforcements. This card reads, search top 10 cards of your deck for up to 3 units that combine cost 7 or less, and play each of them for free. So, let me tell you how good that is. Maybe you've got no ambush in hand and where you need a big ambush card, play this out, boom, here's your hand solo. Or maybe they've got quite a few units down. You can actually play out 3 different ambush units, activate the ambush on each of them, and defeat 3 things. I love this card in this deck. It just basically extends your hand to 10 cards in your deck. It's so good. Honestly, like I said, being able to play out just either one big unit or those 3 ambushing things out of nowhere is crazy good. That's it for the main deck. Let's move on to this side deck. Kicking things off the side deck is a free cost, that is 2 Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Maybe you feel like this deck hasn't got enough ambush. I don't know why you would think that, but this card's simply free attack, 2 health with ambush. It's not very good, it's just in here if you wanted more ambush for the hell of it, really. But of course, you can activate Boba, means get 4 attack, 2 health, and well, it's ambush. Our next is a 4 costing ground unit, and that is free hidden sharpshooter. So it's 4 attack, 3 health with ambush. So of course, ambush with Boba, meaning ambush for 5. This one's actually got more of a purpose though. If you're playing against a Sabine deck, you want to bring these in because it's another card that can one-shot the Sabine leader and, well, survive. So having then this modded cohort and contracted hunter is insane. It means their Sabine leader just won't live. We then want to run 2 Bright Hopes. So it's a 2/6 stat line, Sentinel, and of course the Boba make it a 3/6 stat line. And when played, you may return a friendly non-leader ground unit to its owner's hand. If you do, draw a card. So similar to Waylay, if you've got a something you want to ambush out again, just return it back to your hand, and you get to draw, which is nice. You won't do that very often. It's mainly in there, so maybe if they are going quite space heavy and you're not getting enough ambush, just play this out, Sentinel it up, have fun getting through that. And rounding up our side deck is free Confiscates. Show reason if you're playing a piloting deck, play this out, defeat the pilots. Or maybe they're playing out a lot of shielded units, and shields hurt this deck hard. So to be able to just pop the shield off for the ambush is gorgeous. And that is our main deck and side deck done. Here's the deck list for those who want it. For matchups and final thoughts for the deck, well, for matchups, you're really good in the aggression matchup. For the sheer reason of you just keep clearing the board, they can't play the game. And, well, you've got so many high-ended units that you just win that way. But the main issue with this deck is, well, shields. If you're playing a shielded deck, you will just lose. For the sheer reason of your ambushing loses all value, because you're ambushing into the shield, and, well, your unit goes down, theirs survives, and that is so annoying for us. Control is, well, you can actually do really well against control. However, villainy control have better late game cards. So as good as your Han Solo, Emperor's Nest, all of that is, they suddenly pop out a Snoke, an Avenger, a Devastator. You can't really do anything. But honestly, shields are the biggest pain for you. And for final thoughts, I absolutely love this deck. This is the 3rd update I've actually done on this deck, just because it's so much fun. And Jump to Lightspeed has actually made it a lot better. You could say it's jumped its power up. I'm really sorry for that pun. I won't do it again. Yeah, I really like this deck. Like last set, it was alright, you know, had some nice new toys, but now, oh my goodness, has it made it insanely good. Especially because we've got all that space ambushing now. Let me know in the comments what you think about this deck, any changes you may make, and if you tried it out, how'd you get on with it? Not just that, let me know in the comments what other decks I should make next. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more deck builds and gameplay videos, which are coming soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.